welcome back to the Dimecast podcast. Beto Duran alongside the one and only Danny Hernandez. Been a couple of weeks off because Danny's been busy training these quarterbacks as they get ready for the 2024 season. All right, so we're recording this towards the end of August. You look fresh, Danny. Finally.
Thank you. Yeah,
right?
I feel well rested.
You were well rested, but it was crazy summer?
Yes, crazy summer, very busy, a lot of action. It's been great, though.
Yeah, but you see Danny has his phone right next to him, not because he's trying to ignore us or anything like that, but he's waiting for calls from parents who are like, Danny, I don't need you to train my kid. I need my kid to play.
Yes.
This is the time of the year.
Yeah.
Fix it, right?
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah.
Okay, so we get it under control. You're good. You're fresh. End of August. High school football season is here. College football season is here. It's what you and your staff and everybody around you, Josh, your favorite receiver, you guys work for at the end of December up until July, right?
Oh, yeah. Now it's game time now. So all the work that we put in the off season, now you're hoping that you get a chance to see it, playing on Friday nights and Saturday, mornings and all that good stuff. So we're excited.
And this is also where the Pop Warner parents are calling you like, Danny,
yeah,
I know you got time now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's Pop Warner time too, so these guys are really excited. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't matter if I have a 8-9-year-old or my kid starting in college. Like, I'm going to give them that same time and attention because that's their moment right then and there, and everything matters for that moment right there.
All right, so today's episode, we're going to break down college quarterbacks and take you a little bit behind the scenes of the Team Dime evolution. Who are you texting right now?
Nobody.
You texting Malik Murphy?
No.
You should, because Malik Murphy is where we're going to start off right now. Quarterbacks that got the starting job, and we're going to give you a little breakdown of where they're coming from, who they are, what they've done, and nobody better than the man who found them when they were that Pop Warner quarterback or that flag football quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or when their mom and dad were saying, do I have a quarterback?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, with Maalik Murphy, I mean, obviously that's one that's near and dear to my heart. I've worked with Malik since the 4th grade. So
he's at Duke now.
He's at Duke now. So, those of you that don't know, Malik was a 4-star big time recruit in the country, ended up going to Texas, played in a couple games last year at Texas when Quinn was out, and ended up winning his games. And, the way college football is now, had to make that move, ended up transferring. So transferred over to Duke and had been in a QB battle over there. It was a good one. There was a good quarterback returning there at Duke, and they just ended up announcing that he'll be the starter. So I'm really excited, for him.
Do you still have a interaction with him as a coach, or is it just like as a mentor now?
Oh no, it's with a coach. Like when he has his break time, obviously he's going to come home to LA. He's going to have all his regular things that he has to do, friends and family and everything like that. But he's going to call me up and say, hey, let's get to work. Like, I got to stay on top of this or stay on top of that. So he's really good about that.
So Malik Murphy, quarterback at Duke. I met him when he was junior at Sarah High in Gardena.
Yes.
And Danny and I were just getting to know each other. Like, who's this Malik Murphy kid? You're going to say, you're going to love him. The dude stood up. He was on the bench, stood up and just kept going.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
6'4", really nice kid.
Great kid.
Got to know him, and he played a game where he was just throwing darts all over the place. And I'm doing the play-by-play for that one for the NFHS network. And I remember tweeting at halftime, and I tagged Orange Blood, the Texas fan site, my boy Jeff Ketchum, and I'm like, real deal.
Oh yeah.
And Jeff, who I've known, because he used to be a Austin, Texas sports talk host. I had to go talk acres with them.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, Beto doesn't praise high school kids. Who is this kid?
Oh, yeah.
And he was already committed to Texas at the time. He was there. I'm like, this kid, mind you, he's a little soft spot. He's from Carson, so I was like all about him.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, this kid, super respectful, hard worker. Then I saw him again this senior year.
Yes.
And I remember just joking. I was like, you still going to Texas? He's like, why would I not?
Yeah.
And his answer was because I wasn't being a reporter asking him. I was like, wait a minute. That's where that dude just transferred into from Ohio State. And then word was that, I don't know, Manning is going to go there.
Yeah.
But Malik's attitude was like, yeah, I'm the guy here.
Yeah.
I'm going.
No, he wasn't scared of competition, ended up going over there. I mean, you're getting a chance to be coached by Sark, who's one of the best in the business. And honestly, even though he ended up having a transfer, he'll be the first one to tell you that he doesn't regret a single moment of being over there. He really felt that he grew as a football player, just as a person and everything like that. Because what you got to keep in mind, I know we had it on one of the other episodes before talking about holdbacks and everything like that. Malik wasn't one of those guys. So Malik was a guy, he's on the younger side. He was getting there to Texas at 17 years old, whereas a lot of these guys, they get to their university and they're already 19 years old.
So with Malik, though, it was really hard for him because he won a couple of games coming off the bench.
Yes.
They go to a huge game.
Yes.
An opportunity to be in the championship game, but because of the recruiting and the transfer window, he had to leave Texas and had to leave the team. He wasn't going to play in that championship game or that playoff game.
Yeah.
But how hard was that?
Well, it's tricky because, you say you're not going to play in that game because the starter's there. But the reality is you're one play away from playing if you're the number 2.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the situation that he was in. So it was like, man, I know I probably need to enter the portal right now because of the timing, because it becomes musical chairs, right? And now it's like, man, there's not that, my chair's not there. So he had to end up getting in, but at the same time, he wanted to finish things off with his brothers, guys that he's put in all that time with. Guys
that he got recruited by, guys he got recruited with, and guys he had lived with for the next couple of years. Yet, Danny, I'm going to be honest here. If I'm thinking Duke, I'm thinking basketball.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking quarterback. Yeah. And if I'm a 4-star who had every single college coming out of high school, why am I at Duke?
I mean, the Duke thing made a lot of sense. And a lot of it had to do, again, we talk about in the recruitment process, it's about relationships. And right when Manny Diaz ended up getting the job over at Duke, he ends up sending.
Wait, the Miami coach?
Miami coach.
He's at Duke now?
He's at Duke. He's the head coach over there at Duke. So what Manny
I need to keep track of the coaches.
I know, right?
Jesus.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do this.
It's wild. It's wild. And when he ended up getting over there to Duke, he ends up sending Malik a picture of when Malik was, I think, maybe in the 7th grade or something. He had attended a camp back then, and it was a picture of them two together. So it was just kind of like, oh man. So Manny was on the fence right there and ended up kind of getting that whole thing kind of going. And, Malik was already in the portal and everything like that. So it just, it kind of made sense. It all just kind of worked out,
Because Malik's another one, for example, for everybody out there, is great relationships, because just fantastic young man.
Great.
But also his grades.
Great grades.
Allowed him to get into a Duke.
Yes.
So without getting into somebody's pockets, I'm sure him getting into Duke means more NIL money.
Oh, yeah. And again, you look at Malik, all the things that he brings to the table. That's definitely a guy that could be the face of a program. That's a guy that I expect to see a lot. He has a lot of NIL opportunities going on already, and I see a lot more happening just because, again, his personality, the way he carries himself, he's sharp, he's witty, all that stuff he's got going.
And the Duke Alumni Network.
Oh yeah.
My. You think the SC Alumni Network is strong here in Southern California.
Yeah.
But the Duke brand.
Oh yeah.
And if you can play football and you can win some games.
Oh yeah. They're gonna be happy.
Just look to this right here. I want to say there's a lot of rich people at Duke. Simple as that. Yeah. But something you just hit me right now with is what we've talked about in previous episodes: maintaining relationships for the parents.
Yes.
Don't show up to a camp and just be a jerk.
Yeah.
Because you just said that Manny did remember when he was in 7th grade.
He remembered him from back then. So again, this is a kid who, and he always made it a point to do this throughout his entire recruitment process. Yeah, you're going to narrow things down. You're going to move on to a certain school and know, hey, it's going to get narrowed down to maybe these 3 schools. But, you still make sure that you maintain some of these relationships with some of these guys, right? Don't burn any bridges. Coaches move around so much before it's like, oh, I wasn't thinking about going to that school, but now this coach is at this school. Hey, I am thinking about going to this school now. So he was in a good spot.
So congratulations to Malik Murphy. When you are in LA, we'll bring you inside the Dimecast studio.
Yes,
we're gonna
love to have you.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make this spot right here where it says on there. We're gonna create a spot where we can have a guest.
Let's do that.
Love you, Danny, but it's time to start bringing people into the studio, right? Because I know people have been asking us, oh, can I Zoom and be one of your guests? Like, no.
Come in.
It doesn't feel the same.
No, come in.
Right?
We want to see you.
How many interviews have you done over Zoom and you're like, you're really doing it, but you're not really doing it?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah, we got to bring you in the Dimecast studio here, brought to you by SOA Sports here in Southern California, which, by the way, you love the logo?
Yes.
I know you got your little mug over there now.
Looking fresh.
We got to get you one because I got me a Beto Vision.
There you go. This is fresh.
This was a mistake. It was supposed to be in black, but I'll take it. Right
no, it looks good.
All right. So congratulations to you, Malik. All right. Another player I've known since his high school days because of you, and it just seems like he's been in college forever, is Jake Garcia.
Yes.
Because of different circumstances, a COVID player, injuries, transfer, stuff like that.
Yes.
What happened to Jake Garcia?
So with Jake, again, throughout his career, a lot of ups and downs, and everything, I mean, people know the background of a lot of the transferring in high school and everything that ended up happening through there. But at the college level, ends up getting recruited, goes to Miami, looked like it was going to be a great situation with the coaches that recruited him and everything. The coaches end up moving on, so now when the coaches move on, that's normally going to be a tough spot for a quarterback to stay at that place, because normally the coaches that just came in, they probably didn't recruit you, and he felt like he had to make the move, and he did. He made a move, ended up going to an SEC school, went to Missouri for a year, and that just wasn't the right place, for him. I mean, kind of the way things happen without getting too much into it. He ended up going to a place that they had a guy already, and were maybe a little misleading in the recruitment of him, getting him over there.
Which happens.
Okay. So that's what happened.
But at the end of the day, if you show up and you compete and you win the job, you're going to win the job.
Yes.
But there's going to be obstacles.
There's going to be obstacles, so now it's like they ended up changing the rule for the guys to be able to enter the portal again, because before he was going to be in a position where he had to be a grad transfer to end up transferring. That's what the original rule was. But then when they opened things up for the guys to be able to get out, it said, hey, I have an opportunity to play right now. I want to play right now. So he ends up entering the portal. And when he enters the portal, the new offensive coordinator at East Carolina is John David Baker. Now, JDB used to be at USC. And when he was at USC, Jake Garcia was committed to USC. So there was a relationship there.
Whatever high school he was at
Narbonne.
At Narbonne at the time, yeah. He was going to go to USC, and then he ended up going to Miami.
Yes. So
he was JDB. Okay.
So he already had the relationship with him from USC. So now when he got the job over there, he immediately reached out to him and said, hey, man, would love to have you over here. And he ended up going, and there was a, QB battle with, a former quarterback that I used to work with, over there, who was coming from Michigan State, St. John Bosco kid, Caden Hauser, very good quarterback too. And both him and Jake, were going at it. And, I was watching, from afar and just kind of seeing what was going on through the media and everything. And they were both doing a great job, and it was like neck and neck. And they just made the decision, just the other day. They ended up announcing it and ended up talking about it. And some of the things that the coach ended up talking about on the reason why it made sense to go with Jake was just how his temperament and just like how even he is. His highs aren't too high, his lows aren't too low, and he's just right there the entire time. So I think when you get a kid that's able to do that, you end up building trust, right? Because you think like, okay, this guy's not going to get rattled. He may throw 2 interceptions in the game, but he's not going to get lost in his head. He's just going to keep on, battling. And you want that as a coach, because you're going to deal with some adversity. So I think he kind of showed that he was able to do that throughout spring and summer and fall camp, and he earned the job.
The journey that Jake Garcia has gone on because of having to move, because of COVID, because of injuries, different coaches, everything else going on back and forth. It also shows to a temperament that we've talked about in previous episodes, where you, as a little kid, need to order your own Happy Meal.
Oh, yeah.
You need to have your own voice, because if you're going, oh, it's not going my way, and you're going to whine about it.
Yeah.
Like Jake could easily just said, I don't like this and I'm done. I could complain and I got my degree. I'm out of here.
Without a doubt.
But still competing, because he's going to go down as one of the players that could have been.
Yes.
And the poster boy for transferring every single year.
Yes.
There's a chance for him to show like, I can still play.
Without a doubt. And he can, and the kid's a total competitor. It's like, I mean, with whatever the situation was with the different transfers and stuff that he was doing, a lot of it was out of his control. And without going into crazy detail on the way all that whole thing ended up going, I think he got a bad rap for a lot of that stuff that ended up happening. So now it's his opportunity to say, hey, man, let me put all that stuff behind me. Let me just play ball. This is what I enjoy doing. And I want to show people that I am still really good at this.
Yeah. Telemundo, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
I remember a couple years ago, I worked a Miami football game, season opener, and he was there. And I walked up to him like, he's on the bench, like Telemundo.
Yeah.
Like, what is going? I do not expect to hear a Telemundo, which is what Danny would call him.
Love it.
In Miami in the 305. Great setup, but just didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
The Miami whole football program, that's just another.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Don't even bring up that NIL down in Miami. Ooh, Hurricanes. It's not the Hurricanes we grew up with.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Jake, and get the job done and just put up some numbers and get to the NFL.
No doubt.
Joey Aguilar.
Yes.
Right. That's
Joey Aguilar and
Aguilar.
Joey
Okay.
and with Joey.
What school is he at?
Joey's at Appalachian State.
So Joey Aguilar is a kid you've been raving about him.
Been raving about
Northern
him.
California JUCO kid goes
Yes.
to App State.
Yeah, and those of you that don't know the story on Joey, I mean, pretty awesome story. I mean, this was a kid who was kind of a late bloomer. Was a non-qualifier coming out of high school. So when that ends up happening, you have to go junior college and you have to stay for 2 years. So he ends up going for 2 years in JUCO. And the way that whole thing ended up happening, Frank Ponce, who's the offensive coordinator at App State, was going to go visit NorCal to go try to recruit Jaden Rashada, which is kind of funny. At the time, he was still in high school. So he goes and he's like, oh, I'm going to go visit Rashada. We'll take a look at him and say, hey, if you're already going to NorCal, you got to take a look at this kid. Nobody knows about this kid, but this kid has Power 5 potential. I promise you. And so Frank ends up going to go take a look at him, and he knows, like, I know the way Frank is. I'm not trying to waste his time. Okay. So if I'm telling him that I got a serious guy, he's a serious guy.
He's at App State.
He's at App State.
And
so, no, take it back. At the moment, he's at Miami. Okay. So he's at Miami. And Jake Garcia is still at Miami. They got a couple other guys at Miami. Frank keeps asking me, is Jake going to leave? Is Jake going to leave Miami? Or I got to imagine at least 2 of the guys in my room are going to end up leaving. So,
that's just the modern football.
It's just, because all these guys want to start and they're good enough to start. So minimum one of them is going to leave. I'm probably going to lose 2 of them. So, it probably makes sense to maybe take a look at a guy.
This is another example that we said in previous episodes where they're recruiting you, but they're also recruiting somebody else.
Yeah.
Because that's what coaches do. You got to protect yourself.
Yeah, you got to stay ready, So again, since he was already taking the trip from Miami to go to NorCal to take a look at a high school kid,
long flight,
I said, that's
a long
It is a long flight. So it's like, hey, get bang for your buck. You're already taking a look at this high school kid. Take a look at this JUCO kid. I promise you it's worth it. So he goes and takes a look at the kid, and takes a look at Joey, and Joey does amazing in his throwing session and everything. Got a chance to see him, I believe, at his practice at the JUCO, and fell in love with them. Said, man, this kid's amazing. You're right. This kid is definitely a Power 5 kid. I don't know how all these coaches aren't on him. So fast forward, Frank ends up leaving to take the App State offensive coordinator position. Okay. When he takes that position, immediately calls me, I need Joey Aguilar over here. He's going to be my quarterback over here. So long story short, Joey ends up going over there and ends up starting for them last year as a junior. Has a great year. I mean, they almost ended up beating North Carolina. They should have beat them. Had some other big wins. He did great. And so now he's going into his last year. It's a senior year now. Again, starting again. And again, I think Joey's in a position that if he just does what he did this last year, then he's probably going to be in a really good position to get drafted. So
no way.
Yeah. So it's just really cool to just kind of see, the struggle. I mean, that path is not always this straight line, right? There's twists and turns and bumps and ups and downs and all that good stuff. And, he stood dedicated and stood at his whole thing. And, we'll see how this whole senior year plays out for him.
Something about Northern California JUCO quarterbacks.
Yes. Yes.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Josh Allen.
Yes.
It could have been Joey Aguilar next.
Yeah. That's wild. Yeah.
And this goes back to what we've talked about in previous episodes. And you can always go back and check out all the previous Dimecast episodes where we talk about the foundation. That's why the first few episodes were about, do I have a quarterback?
Yeah.
What do I do? How do I go to camps? It's a lot of how to,
yeah.
But there is, like you just said it, there is no straight line.
Yeah.
You could be the 5-star in high school and next you know, you're on the bench somewhere or out of the game.
It happens.
Or,
oh yes, it happens.
And I'm looking at more from the baseball side where guys are like, I'm going to go sign for $2 million, go to the minor leagues. And next you know, you're back at college as a 25-year-old freshman. What up, Chris Wanky?
Yeah, yes.
But everybody has a different path, and it's just don't get caught up in what you are at 17.
That's so true.
And you got to show up and work even harder. And Aguilar is doing that because I don't know where Appalachian State is. If I'm a kid who's 17 years old in Northern California, but you give me a chance to play, I'm gonna go. And shout out to Daniel Jeremiah in Appalachian State because Jeremiah from the NFL Network, he's huge on quarterbacks that went to schools like that.
Yeah.
And they come out. If you test right at the combine,
you
can just shoot up like no other.
Oh yeah. No, I think he's going to be in a good position.
All right. Now, a kid that is going to make some noise here in Southern California for what he's done off of the field. We've talked about the transfers, the JUCO transfer, the portal. Miller Moss does not know what a portal is. Miller Moss knows what Cardinal and Gold is. Mm-hmm. He knows what it's like to be at the Coliseum as a tyke because Miller Moss only wanted to play at one school, and he just got named a quarterback at USC.
Yes.
Miller Moss never left the Trojan family. Why?
Yeah, and again, that's someone that played the long game, and that was just someone that believed in himself. And we always talk about, it sounds very cliche, right? Trust the process. We're always saying that, and that was Miller's a guy that just trusted the process and just kind of let everything play out. And he's in a position right now. I mean, I'm so proud of him, for him to stick things out, go through that adversity that he's gone through, dealing with different staffs. Then you start looking at, okay, wait, we got a new coach, but I feel like I'm kind of in the driver's seat here. And then you get, arguably the best quarterback in all of college football now transfers into your school, in Caleb. So now it's like, okay, so there goes that. Every reason why you would say, okay, I'm out of here. I need to move on. But you know what? He stuck things out. Had that opportunity to play in the bowl game last year, ended up breaking a bowl game record for the amount of touchdowns that he ended up throwing. And I mean, he's great, man. I mean, just a very humble kid. Very dedicated to his craft and loves his team and loves the school. And like you said, I mean, he's been a fan of the program. You're going to take a look and see pictures of him in his SC jersey when he was a little guy, man. So he's been about it for a long time.
Alamany, is that where he went?
He went to Alamany. Yeah.
So he's a Valley kid out that way.
Yes.
So how did you run into Miller Moss?
Miller, we ended up, I think, getting together for the first time, probably through the 7-on-7 circuit. I was helping a 7-on-7 organization and Miller was part of that. And then we just kind of hit it off, there, started working with one another. And then I played a big role in the recruitment process, for him. Again, when it comes to the recruitment process, there's a lot of extra stuff that you got to do. And I think Miller, being the guy who he is, where it's just all about the work and it's just all about making the main thing, some of those extras and different things that you got to do, he didn't really know about some of those and probably didn't really care about some of those little extra things. He just worried about being the best quarterback, having his footwork right, having his mechanics right, making all the right reads, high football IQ, and that should be enough to get it done, But again, throughout the recruitment process at the beginning, that wasn't enough, So there were things that we had to do to make sure that he was a little bit more visible to coaches and kind of getting out there, was really exciting. We went on a few college visits together, his recruitment kind of ended up blowing up kind of over a weekend, really a 2-week span. We ended up going to Alabama, picked up an Alabama offer. Then we went and visit Georgia, picked up a Georgia offer. And it's funny because a lot of schools on the West Coast, they're just kind of late, in the process and recruiting. And then what ended up happening, he picked up UCLA, USC, Cal, like all the schools on the West Coast ended up coming in. And, ultimately he decided on going to SC and, that's where he's at now.
He wasn't the Bosco modern day, Sierra Canyon guy. So Alamany, strong program, but not where the studs are coming out of per se, for the rankings, right? They're going to be in the middle of the pack kind of team, maybe go lose in the first round of the playoffs. So if you're a big time recruit, you're not staying there. That kind of shows who he is, though.
Yeah.
Stick it out with his guys. Forgive me if I get this wrong, but wasn't Miller a kid who was, he's going to USC, but he's not really going to play kind of guy?
Yeah, there was a little bit. Again, I think he's one of those guys where you look at him and you're not wowed by, he doesn't have a cannon of an arm. He's not, this blazer 4.3 speed kind of guy, but I think what a lot of people underestimate is how smart he is. I mean, this is a guy, he's one of the smartest quarterbacks I've ever been around,
Well, he graduated from USC in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And
he ended with so many credits that he ended up graduating in 2 years.
Yes. Just a sharp dude. And, so I think a lot of that, when you start talking about processing information and how quick you could process and all that kind of stuff, Miller's doing that, it's like, and then I think in this bowl game, people were able to get a chance to see like, oh wait, maybe his arm is a little bit stronger than we thought. Maybe he moves a little bit better than we thought, so he's showing that, he is more than brains. And I think you're going to get a chance to see a lot of that this year.
What I've noticed a lot about Miller? He's getting, like, we always say this all the time. It's 2024. The game has changed.
Yes.
You have double holdbacks. You have triple Spencer holdback, all that good stuff. And it's just, you're going to go where you can get your money.
Yes.
Because that's just the nature of the beast now. But he is the old school throwback where like all those old guys, like back in my day, we had a fullback kind of guy. So he has that kind of fan base too.
He does. And I think, I did an interview just last week, I think it was, and we were talking about the way the game is now and the way the college game is now. If you're not playing by year 2, chances are, I don't know if you're going to end up playing at that particular school, and you're probably going to have to move on. and there's a dying breed now, and these guys are it's their last hurrah, kind of, to be able to show that, hey, I'm gonna stick things out and let things work. Miller Moss over at SC, Garrett Nussmeyer over at LSU, all these guys kind of seeing those are guys that could have moved on, because they were good enough to start at other places. And there was plenty of people that would have wanted them, but they said, hey, you know what? We're going to stick things out, very old school. I'm going to stick things out and see how things end up playing out. And they're both the starters now of their program, which is amazing.
So we got to go to SC game on the road.
Well, what's great is the very first game, USC against LSU.
Yep.
It's against Garrett Nussmeyer.
It's coming up this weekend.
And there and in Vegas. In Vegas, so that's pretty exciting. And I mean, those are two guys again that have been waiting, their turn. They were both guys that were class of 2021 coming out of high school. That was a weird year going on because of COVID and everything like that, football wise. So they've paid their dues pretty much. So I'm excited to see what those guys do.
Yeah, you've been telling about Miller for a while, where you're like, he was not this guy, because Miller had Caleb Williams show up. Okay, Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah. Okay, guy. A new coach, and you just mentioned when new coaches show up, you get rid of your guys. Stuck it out. Oh, and also they're recruiting a 5-star Malachi Nelson, who has everything around him. Malachi's gone, and Miller gets the job. I mean, I get earned the job, because Lincoln Riley's not just going to hand the job to anybody. And Lincoln Riley, if you look at the quarterbacks that he's had, Caleb, Spencer Rattler, Kyler Murray.
Oh, he's had dudes, man.
He's got dudes.
Yeah. He gets it done. So it's like, I mean, I'm excited to see what he does in that offense for sure.
All right. So those are the guys that are going to be starters. Yet at the same time, Danny, college football, we're still making noise about who might be the quarterback, who might be the starter, who's not. A kid I'm really interested that you've trained, he's the quarterback at Cal.
Yes.
I forget his name.
Fernando Mendoza.
He's out of Miami, right?
Yes.
So he started last year, middle of the season at Cal.
Yes.
But he hasn't been named the starter at Cal, which, whatever it is, the way that the football season is, you're one snap away from getting in there. So a guy like Mendoza or some of the other kids that you train that weren't named starters, what do you tell them? How do you talk to them to make them say, hey, we're not transferring, guy. It's August still.
Yeah. And again, I think it's just, the process of what goes on, throughout practice. I try to do my best on checking in on the guys and kind of seeing what's going on. You're going to see some things in the media. They're going to post highlights and clips on some of the stuff that goes on in some of these spring games and everything like that. And then I'm just going to, again, try to check in on these guys and kind of see where they're at with things, and Mendoza's a guy, again, who won a lot of games for them, last year, did a real good job. So he's proven, and now, again, he's in a position where there wasn't any kind of like sense of entitlement where he should automatically be the starter. He's had the attitude like, well, hey man, I got to earn the job again this year.
Is this the kid that could have gone to Harvard?
Yeah, he was committed to Yale.
Okay. Yeah. So like 4 point something.
Yeah. His unique story was committed to Yale, didn't have any Power 5 offers. And the offensive coordinator of Cal at the time, he had recruited two of my other kids. He had recruited Justin Martin, who ended up at UCLA, and then Jaden Denegal, who ended up at Michigan. So I knew he liked the bigger guy. So I said, hey, well, I know you have a type. You're looking for a big guy quarterback. I know it's going to be a travel, but there's a kid that I work with that's on the other side of the country in Miami. I think he's worth you taking a look at. I think you're going to like him. So he takes a look at him, goes to his practice, calls me up, and he's like, hey, I'm offering him, man. I love this kid. So we were excited because it was like, oh man, he didn't have any other Power 5 offers. And not because I don't think because he wasn't good enough. It was just, he was a little bit under the radar. He was a little bit of a late bloomer, that kind of thing.
6'4" is not late bloomer.
Yeah. Well, late bloomer as in just like being out there.
Oh, gotcha.
Big stats, everybody knowing who he was, that kind of thing. So he was a little bit under the radar. But again, the Ivies were drooling because they said, oh man, this guy's going to fall in our lap right here, and, he was set. He was going to go to Yale and everything was good. And then ended up going and visiting Cal, and Cal's very good school, so
hard to get into.
Yeah, so he ended up going, and he's now this is his third year now over there. So I'm excited to see what Fernando does.
All right, quick hitters here. Who are the guys you're looking forward to who we haven't mentioned yet?
So one of the things, San Jose, there's 3 guys that I work with, the top 3 guys over there at San Jose. All right, so
wait,
all the top 3 guys. Yeah.
So the guys competing with each other?
The guys competing with each other.
They've trained with you at the same time?
They've trained with me for years. Yes. So it just kind of worked out in the way. I mean, the one kid that's there, Walker Eget, he's been there the entire time.
Yeah.
He's been there the entire time. And then you have Emmett Brown, who ended up transferring from Washington State.
Emmett went to San Jose State. Mind you, these are all the guys that I know from Danny's Instagram. Because he gives every single person like a little nickname.
Trying to get, So he's over there, the doc, Emmett Brown. The doc.
Because from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Only I get that.
Exactly.
You're athletes.
Yeah, no, they don't get that. Yeah. Watch Back to the Future, guys, please. But so he ends up transferring then to San Jose. And then there's another kid that I work with, Xavier Ward, who was at Washington State, then transferred to Sam Houston. Now he's at San Jose.
So are you on San Jose State's payroll?
I should be, man.
Where's your Spartan
something
gear?
Come on, coaches, give me a hat or a hoodie or something.
Dry fit, please.
Something.
Dry fit here,
please.
I mean, if you're training 3 other quarterbacks,
3 other guys,
get us a shirt.
Should.
Right?
Should. Yeah. A little pennant, something over here. No helmet to put.
If you're a coach out there, start sending your gear so we can start putting on the walls here. We want it to all be covered up. Please everywhere where Danny has trained 3 quarterbacks. If he only trains 2, we don't want it. We need all 3.
Yes, very true.
What about the walk-on? You train him too? Maybe.
No. Yeah. So we'll see how all that goes over there. So I'm excited to see, again, those are 3 great kids, and they've been battling it out. They haven't named the starter just yet, but I think that should be happening pretty soon.
Well, it'll be somebody with a team.
Somebody, so I'm excited.
Some Dimes gear will be at San Jose State.
Winning somehow. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
Over at Stanford, one of my kids, Justin Lamson, he's probably in the 2 spot right now, over there. So we'll see how things, play out for him. I'm excited to see what he does over there too. God, I know there's plenty of other quarterbacks that I have, and I'm just drawing a blank right now. I apologize, guys.
Well,
if you're watching the show,
be your own.
Be your own. Exactly.
No, we have a lot of other names that Danny wanted to list, but I told him to say and omit those names to make sure you guys can text him like, Danny, you didn't say my name, bro.
Exactly.
You see?
Say my name.
Say my name.
Go.
All right. Feel good about this one?
Feel good about this one.
Good recap of the college football series right there. I like your municipal shirt.
Thank you.
You like my municipal polo? You like that? You like that?
Coordinating over here.
We got to coordinate. Got the municipal right there.
There you go.
The reason I'm wearing it is I played golf today.
Okay.
And this one dried up after the heat today. So it's very nice.
How'd you do, by the way?
I do. Well, we don't keep score.
Okay.
There's no need for that. Because when you look this good in municipal,
very true.
You're all right.
Very true.
Dimecast podcast. Thanks to SOA Studios, our guys behind the scenes, always taking care of us. More and more coverage coming your way. We're going to start taking the cameras with Larry and Art to the high school games. We might even go to a football weekend game. We might do some stuff. And we're definitely beginning some interviews with the guys that Danny's gonna be training on a Sunday, man. Guys come out to you because just to get some fundamental work.
Stay on top of their game.
Yeah. So we're gonna start taking stuff out of the studio, get going.
Let's do
because on Friday and Saturdays, Danny's gonna be at a game somewhere.
I will.
And definitely at San Jose State.
I will be there. Yeah.
All right. Coming up next episode. You know what I got for you?
What do you got?
We need to break down these high school quarterbacks.
Let's do it.
The guys that you have, I know are, Greg Biggins and Blair and Antonio, they always do the write-ups of like the top list. We're not going to do a list, but we need to start breaking down the classes.
Okay.
Next episode, we're going to break down the class of 2025.
25. The seniors.
The seniors.
Yes.
The guys that have committed.
Yes.
That already got things out there. I want to know who these studs are. And again, mind you, before you start saying, oh, you didn't include this guy, you didn't include that guy. This is Danny Hernandez's Team Dimes podcast. So these are the guys that Danny trains.
Yes.
So if he doesn't train with you, he's not going to talk about you.
Probably.
Right?
Probably.
I mean, we'll give him praise.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. We'll give you praise if you know, but it's also, you're going to talk about the guys that you're with every single day.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And if you're in Indiana or Wisconsin, wherever you may be, let us know that you want Danny to train you because I will show it for you.
Sounds good.
Right? Not you.
Let's do it.
Me.
You. Go.
For Danny Hernandez, everybody behind the scenes at SOA Studios, I'm Beto Duran. Thanks for watching the Dimecast Podcast.